Assalamu alaikum everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Advanced Financial Management ACCA webinar. Thank you so much for joining in. If you guys are listening and voice is clear, please do let me know in the chat box. Guys, I'm assuming that voice is clear. Okay. Thank you so much for joining in, guys. Welcome to the Advanced Financial Management ACCA webinar. Starting with my profile. My name is Shoaib Yaqub. I'm ACCA member and CFA charter holder. I have a 14 years of teaching experience. I have started my teaching like in 2000, back in 2007. I have a teaching experience of teaching financial management, advanced financial management, the core subjects of ACCA. Besides this, I am also teaching few subjects of CA and the whole CFA. And I have a global exposure of training candidates. Previously, in 2017-18, I have conducted 2 sessions on practice to pass on advanced financial management, previously known as P4. And I have an online teaching experience of teaching candidates, students in more than like 80 countries. I'm also working in industry, and I have an industry experience of more than 12 years. Currently, I'm working as a unit head in one of the largest bank of my country. And I have a practical exposure of dealing in FX, the foreign currency, equity, shares, and the derivatives, which are applicable both on the equity and the currency. By the way, these are the core part of AFM as well. So this is my brief introduction. So what is the objective of this webinar? What is the objective of this webinar? The benefit of getting this webinar is that we are going to discuss the key technical topics which requires you to put most of your efforts in right direction while preparing for your final exam. Obviously, very few days are left in your final exam. So this is a complete revision package. This webinar will help you to sharpen your skill so that you can apply those skills in the final exam. Okay, I will ensure that by the end of this session, you will be able to meet the examiner's expectation. It is a quick revision package to ensure you get past your final exam, inshallah. Okay, I will try my best that you guys able to understand the key areas in each topic. Like there are different topics in AFM like investment appraisal, merger and acquisition, restructuring, and other topics. So I will try my best that you try to get the best of each area in each topic. So we will discuss that how to solve question on ACCA practice platform, because in AFM the role of the platform is very, very important. Why is it so? Because why the role is very important? Because 50% of the exam is numerical. So we will work that how to solve question quickly on the practice platform. So this is the common, this is the main agenda of this webinar. Okay, next is we will work that what are the common mistakes of student in each topic. Well, if you're doing the question of investment appraisal, what will be the common mistakes? If you're doing the question on merger and acquisition, what will be the common mistakes? So we will discuss what are the common mistakes of students in each topic, and obviously how to overcome those mistakes. That will be the main objective of this webinar. What are the general requirements of examiner in that topic? How examiner will test investment appraisal, rail option, merger and acquisition, what can be what area can be tested from each topic? How to meet examiner expectation? We will work on that. Bringing the gap between examiner expectation and your preparation, we will bridge that gap. So bringing the gap between examiner expectation and your preparation closer. So that will be the objective of this webinar. Exam smart technique to solve questions and how to prepare theory. Obviously, many students lack skills to prepare theory, whether it tested from merger, restructuring, risk management. Obviously, 40 to 50% of the AFM exam will be tested from the discursive area, from the theoretical area. So it will be a major part. It will be a major issue that how to prepare the theory. So the objective of this webinar is to identify what are the key areas, how to solve question on the ACCA practice platform, what are the common mistakes which you are going to do in the exam if you do not revise properly, what are the general requirements from each topic, how examiner will test the each topic, how to meet the examiner expectation, how to bridge the gap between examiner expectation and obviously our preparation. Then next is exam smart techniques to solve the question, how to quickly solve the numerical question, and obviously the most important part, how to prepare theory. So these are the objectives of this webinar. So let's discuss the core areas of AFM. The core areas of AFM. Advanced investment appraisal. Advanced investment appraisal includes APV, it includes international, investment appraisal, it includes the smaller topic like MIRR, it includes the project duration, sensitivity, simulation. So advanced investment appraisal is a bigger area. It's not a small area, it's a bigger area. APV, international investor appraisal, MIRR, duration. So these areas can be tested in the main heading of investment appraisal. Second is acquisition and merger, corporate restructuring or reconstruction, treasury and risk management, option pricing theory, dividend policy, and other topics. And remember one thing, it is for sure one question will be tested from the investment appraisal and the other question will be tested from the risk management. So two questions are confirmed in the exam. One question will be tested from the investment appraisal and another question will be tested from the risk management area. Yes, there is a debate that how many marks can be tested. Yes, there is a debate that how many marks can be tested from the investment appraisal area and the risk management area. But it is guaranteed that one question will be tested from the investment appraisal area and the other question will be tested from the risk management area. Okay, we know that there will be three questions. We know that there will be three questions in total. One question of one question of will be of 50 marks. Question will be of 50 marks. Question 2 and 3 will be of 25 marks. So if examiner tested first question from the investment appraisal area, obviously 50 marks cannot be tested from one area. This area can be tested with other smaller areas. Like examiner can test for some ethical portion with it, some theoretical portion with it. So if investment appraisal area is tested in question number 1, it will be tested, for example, maximum for 25 to 30 marks. Second question can be tested from the risk management area. Risk management area. Either it can be tested from currency portion, or it can be tested from interest rate risk management. We can't guarantee that currency risk will be tested, but risk management will be tested. Whether it will be a currency portion or an interest rate risk portion, it is your guess that which portion will be tested. But one question will be tested from the investment appraisal area, the other question will be tested from the risk management area. Third question, or the portion of the question number 1, will be tested from all the other areas. It can be tested from acquisition and merger, it can be tested from restructuring, or it can be tested from other areas. So the important areas, I have listed all the important areas here: investment appraisal, acquisition and merger, corporate restructuring, risk management, option pricing, or you can say that it also includes a real option. But real option will be tested in investment appraisal. It will be tested in investment appraisal. Dividend policy and other smaller topics. And there is a list of smaller topics. So these are the main core areas of AFM. So what is the agenda? Obviously, first of all, in day 1 today, we will discuss that how to pass the AFM, how we prepare to pass the AFM. That is the main agenda of this webinar, especially the day 1. And we will discuss the topic investment appraisal. What are the common mistakes which students are doing in investment appraisal? What is the solution? And we will solve a big question on ACCA practice platform. Second is the day 2 plan is to solve question about the merger and acquisition. Day 3 plan is to solve question on the corporate restructuring, and day 4 plan is to solve question on the risk management area. So this is the overall plan which we will follow in these 4 days. Okay, we have discussed this paper pattern. So what are the must do's for passing AFM? What are the must do's? This is very important. This is a checklist. It's very important. Let's discuss one by one. Number 1, do not skip any topic. Even if very few days are left, try to complete the syllabus. Try to complete the bigger topics at least. Do not skip any topic, must revise the entire syllabus. There is a requirement. Examiner in every examiner feedback report usually write this, that student usually select few topics and students have gripped on few topics, not the entire syllabus. So do not skip any topic. It's a request and it's a advice from an experienced person, that do not skip any topic. Maybe if you are skipping interest rate risk management, that it has been tested in the last attempt, maybe examiner tests the same topic in the coming attempt. So do not skip any topic. Next is must plan before attempting question. Successful candidates answer scripts as well organized. First 15 minutes are important for plan. whenever you are going to answer the question, you should plan before attempting the question. And ACCA is very kind. ACCA has given you 15 minutes for the planning. Read the question, make a smaller plan in your mind that how I'm going to answer the question. And seriously, it's a blessing to solve question on the computer, on the software, because if you write something, you have the option to raise that. You have the option to raise that. So plan before attempting the question. For example, if you try to apply some formula, make a plan about that formula. Try to think that how you are going to apply that formula. For example, you are going to write some theory about the B or C part of the question. Make a plan in your mind that what will be the 3 to 4 valid points which I will use in answering this question. So if you plan well, your answer will be well structured. And remember, examiner will give you the full marks if you well structure the answer. Do not miss theoretical areas and balance your exam with theory. Remember, it's not a numerical paper. It's a numerical plus theoretical paper. If you calculate the theory and the numerical portion, almost 50% is theoretical and 50% is numerical. So if you are good in theory and you are not good in, if you are good in theory and you are not good in numerical, it's difficult to pass the exam. And if you are good in numerical and not good in theory, seriously, again, it is difficult to pass the exam. So apply a balanced approach. What is the balanced approach? Balanced approach is, if you are good in numerical, try to convert that numerical into theory. For example, if you have solved a risk management question, you have solved the forward answer, future answer, and option answer. You should be able to discuss the result by comparing the forward answer, future answer, and option answer with each other. If you're only good in numerical and you're unable to discuss your answer, seriously, you will be in problem. If you have solved the NPV question and you are not discussing the result, you are going to lose easy marks. So it's my humble request, whenever you solve a numerical question, whether it is a question number 1, 2, or 3, you have to discuss the result. You have to discuss that question, whether the question belongs to merger acquisition, whether the question belongs to restructuring, risk management, investment appraisal. Always discuss the result. So this part is very important. I'm discussing here. Always discuss the result of numerical, and always ready to discuss assumptions which you have taken. The fourth one is, learn to apply time management skills. Try to complete the paper. Learn to apply the time management skill. Time management is actually a wonderful skill. How to get perfect in that skill if you have a few days available in your exam. So how to master this skill? Listen carefully, guys. For example, you have a plan to solve 10 questions. For example, I'm just assuming you have a plan to solve like 5 questions on investment appraisal. So I'm assuming you have a plan to solve 5 questions on investment appraisal. So I'm discussing that how to master this time management skill. So when you are doing question number 1, 25 marks, and obviously you know that you have 1.8 minutes for every mark. For 25 marks you will be having 45 minutes. So solve first question without any time restriction. For example, if you are able to solve the first question even in 70 minutes, no problem. When you solve the second question, the target is that second question should be solved in less than 70 minutes. For example, you have solved first question in 70 minutes. Your second question should be solved in like 65 minutes. Your third question should be solved in 55 minutes. Your fourth question or fifth question should be solved in 45 minutes. Do not pressure yourself in the first question. Target should be that I will solve the second question in less than the time which I have taken to solve the first question. I will solve the third question in less time which I have taken to solve the second question. So you will create the time management skill. Time management skill is not like, it's not, everybody do not have this skill. But this skill can be created. So you have good, like few days are left. So try to master this skill. If you plan to solve 3 to 4 questions or 5 to 7 questions of every topic, solve first question without time restriction, solve second question like in less than that time, solve third question in even less than that time. So try to master this skill. If you have the time management skill and if you have average, if you have average preparation of AFM, seriously you have a bright chances of passing the exam. Majority of the candidates unable to complete the paper because they unable to master this management skill, this time management skill. Try to relate your answer with the scenario to get maximum marks. This is another problem which usually students face in the exam. Students know how to answer the theory, but they only know the general answer. Do not write the general theory in exam. You will not get proper marks. You will not get the maximum marks. Whenever you write the answer, try to relate your answer with the theory. For example, if you're writing the benefits of some method, if you're writing the benefit of option, write from the perspective of that company. If you're comparing forward with the future, write with the perspective of with that company. Try to relate your answer with the scenario. Otherwise, there is no benefit of writing general theory in the exam. Examiner is not expecting that student should write the general theory. Your answer should be linked with the scenario. Otherwise, you will not get the maximum mark. Otherwise, you can fail your exam in 40s, and you will be questioning your mentor or other person that why I have failed my exam in 40s. This could be the reason because maybe you have written the proper theory, but maybe you have written the general theory. If you unable to relate with the scenario, examiner will not allot you the maximum marks. Must practice past paper and read the model answer to understand the examiner approach. Must apply your knowledge to the information in the case. Do not lose easy marks, prepare for it. You have to search for the easy marks in the question. When we solve a few questions in these 4 days, I will tell you how to get the easy marks. So if you able to get the easy marks, you can easily pass your exam. Next is do not panic due to 1 or 2 adjustment. Do not panic due to 1 or 2 adjustment. Why is it so? in order to pass, you have to get 50 marks. In order to get the worldwide position, there's no limit. Even you can get 90 and do not get the first position. Even you get the 99 and somebody else has got 100. So do not panic due to one or two adjustment. If you are unable to solve one adjustment, you can get 99 or 98 marks, not 48 or 47 marks. Try to motivate yourself in the exam that, okay, if I don't know the one adjustment, I can score the full marks in other adjustments. So try to think like that. Do not get panic. Do not take stress in the exam. If you unable to solve one adjustment or two adjustment, that is okay. Obviously, examiner will try to make a paper which is a balanced paper. So somebody gets some difficulty in few of the areas. So if you are getting difficulty in exam in few of the areas, do not get panic, do not get stressed. Take assumption and move to the next part. Okay, no, there is a question that if you miss one adjustment, it will affect your final answer. I will answer your question in coming slides. Reason for unsuccessful attempts: not enough practice questions. And now let me add one thing: not enough practice on ACCA practice platform. Not doing enough questions on ACCA practice platform. If you are not used to that platform, you will be feeling like you will be feeling very surprised in the exam, and that will create the tension. So try to solve the maximum questions which are available. At least like 8 to 10 questions are available on the practice platform. Try to solve all those questions. Poor time allocation in the exam, that is the major reason for unsuccessful attempt, which we have discussed previously. Not answering the question as expected by the examiner. Not answering the question as expected by the examiner, that can also be the reason of failure. Not enough knowledge about the subject area. It is for those students who are doing the selective study. So that can also be the problem. Panic in exam when you see something unseen on the question booklet. So there is a solution for this problem. There is a solution, and that solution will work always. What is that solution? Take assumption and move to the next part. For example, let me explain. For example, if there is a question on investment appraisal, first part is to calculate the weighted average cost of capital. Second part is to calculate the NPV. And you found something problematic in the first part. You didn't solve the first part. What about the second part? Remember, examiner will deduct marks in the first part, and it will not carry forward. It will not carry forward the effect of that. Using that wrong answer in the first part, examiner will check the second part and will give you the full marks if your second part is correct. So guys, if your first part is wrong, for example, the cost of capital, you have calculated cost of capital like 15%, and the original answer is 10%. Original answer is 10%, but you have calculated the cost of capital 15%. And by using the 15%, obviously you will calculate the NPV, and that NPV will be very low, and that NPV will be wrong. But examiner will give you full marks for the NPV calculation. Even if there is a mark for the discounting, you will get full mark for the discounting. Examiner will not carry forward the effect of some wrong adjustment. he will deduct marks for the wrong adjustment in the A part, but he will not deduct any mark for the part 2. So if you see something unseen in the question booklet, what you have to do? Take assumption. Take any assumption. Like for example, if you are unclear about the beta, take any assumption about the beta, put in the CAPM, solve the cost of equity, and move to the next part. You will get full marks for the part B parts. Even you will get the full marks for the discussion. Even you have even if you have done the discussion on the wrong answer, still you will get the full marks for the B and C part, not for the A part. Obviously, he will deduct marks for the A part. So remember one thing, examiner generally is generous in case of awarding marks. Problem is with us. When we solve something wrong in the question, we get we got panic attack, and we leave that question incomplete, and that is the major reason of failure. You have to take assumption and move to next part. Seriously, you will be able to solve the question. Many students just read the solution of the question while doing the practice. They don't try to write every part of the question by themselves. So if you are planning to solve 20 questions in next few days, I'm just writing a number. If you have a plan to solve 20 questions, try to type those answers in ACCA practice platform. And if you are solving question on the Excel sheet, apply the limited formulas which are applicable according to the ACCA. Otherwise, if you're doing practice on the Excel, it will not help you. But if you're doing practice on the Excel, and if you're doing practice on the Microsoft Word, it will only help you if you solve questions with the limited formulas which are applicable, which are allowed formulas. But my suggestion, my advice is to solve questions, to solve maximum questions on ACCA practice platform, because the response on real Excel is really very fast. The response on the practice platform is slightly slower than the real Excel. So maybe if you always practice on MS Excel, and first time when you solve question on the ACCA platform, you feel something little uneasy. You feel uneasy in exam. So my advice is to solve at least all those questions which are available on the ACCA practice platform. At least solve those questions on the platform. Okay, there is a difference between the Microsoft Excel and the ACCA practice platform. One difference is all the formulas are not available. Second difference is on ACCA practice platform, split screen is available. On real Excel, full screen is available. Third is real Excel is slightly faster than the ACCA platform. So maybe in final exam you feel uneasy. So that's why I will request that solve all questions on ACCA practice platform. Main reasons for candidates performing, candidates underperformance, that is lack of detailed knowledge of part of the syllabus, poor time management, not structuring question one in a report format, and thereby not gaining all the professional marks. We will discuss this, how to get the professional marks. This one is very important. This one is very important. Why students fail? not structuring question one in a report format. And because of that, they will lose 4 marks, 4 precious marks, 4 free marks. So if you make a report, if you make a proper format of the report, if you make a well structured report, you will get 4 free marks just for the well structuring of the report. Presenting the discursive answer in brief bullet points, often in incomplete. This is a serious problem with the students. Never use incomplete sentences in your exam answer. Try to answer in a full sentence. Otherwise, it will leave a bad impression on the marker. Marker will not allot you the maximum marks. And try to avoid the bullet points. Make a paragraph and try to answer your question in the paragraph. Okay, we will discuss that how to present the answer, but these are the reasons which because of these students underperform in the exam. Focusing more on either the numerical part, on the discursive part, instead of balance approach. And this one is very important. Not reading the requirement of the question and therefore answering the question incorrectly. It is also important to note that answer provided should be relevant to the question asked. General answers which do not relate directly to the scenario are unlikely to attract many marks. Not using exam time wisely, we have discussed this. Poor exam technique, too much time was spent in attempting a question part that a candidate has prepared well. Okay, this is a real problem. If you have prepared well a question, you should give a less time to that question. You should try to save time from that question. But that is totally opposite. Students emotionally get attached with that question and they try to give the maximum time on that question. For example, if you have a fully grip on the NPV question, and luckily in exam there is a question on the NPV, so what you will do? What is the wrong approach? You will get emotional and you will properly label the headings. You will properly emotionally try to solve that question, and you will spend more time in that question. Guys, if you have prepared well that area, try to quickly solve that question and try to give the maximum time on that area in which you have some difficulties. Lack of question practice under exam condition, that is another reason of failure. Spending time on unnecessary introduction or definitions. For example, if you are making unnecessary introductions, headings, definitions, or try to applying unnecessary formulas on the Excel sheet, that can also lead to wastage of time. And if you lack time at the end of the exam, it will be difficult for you to complete the paper. Numerical answer that were poorly structured, it is difficult to award marks when a candidate's calculation does not indicate the relevant currency. So that is another problem. Your numerical answer should be well structured. Okay, how to get the easy professional marks? How to get the easy professional marks? A significant number of candidates did not provide a reasonable structure in their answer, nor put the answer in a report format. These marks are relatively easy to obtain, and well-structured response would provide candidates with a useful framework within which to provide a response. So there are 4 professional marks are available, and believe me, from September 2022 onwards, there will be 20 professional marks which will be available in the exam. Now currently 4 marks are available, but from September onwards 20 marks will be available. And these 4 marks are easy to obtain. How? Make a report and try to get the maximum marks. How to make a report? Whenever you are making a report in question number 1, especially in the B or C part, report should be addressed to the normally to the board of directors. Report should be addressed to the board of directors. So whenever you are making a report, you will write that to the board of directors. You will write the complete sentence to the board of directors. Then you will write a subject. And how to write a subject? Normally you can copy from the question requirement. The question, you can copy the question requirement and arrange it in a normal format and write in the subject. What is the report actually? What is the report is all about? You have to discuss the NPV question, you have to discuss the assumptions, you have to discuss the ethical issue. What is the report? What the report is all about? So subject is actually you are copying from the question requirement. Copy the question requirement, remove the questioning part, how, why, remove that part and write it on the subject. Subject should be 1 or 2 liner. Maximum 2 liner, otherwise 1 liner. Then you will write the introduction paragraph. Introduction paragraph is what is report all about and what it includes. What is report is all about and what it includes. It includes the discussion on the assumptions. It includes the discussion on the NPV and APV. It includes the discussion on the different currency methods. It includes the discussion on the ethical issues. So you will write the introduction paragraph, and introduction paragraph should be 2 to 3 lines. It shouldn't be more than that, because if you write a well structured introduction paragraph, it will attract a 1 mark. 1 mark only. So for 1 mark, if you're writing 5, 6, 7 lines, you're wasting your time. So for introduction paragraph, it should be 2 to 3 liner. It will only attract 1 mark. Report body, then make a report, body of the report. And you should give the small headings. For example, if you are discussing the result of the NPV question or APV question, you will write that analysis. Then there's a question that you should discuss the assumptions. You will write the heading assumption, then you should write the assumptions. Then, for example, there's a requirement to discuss the ethical issue. So you will write the small heading ethical issue and discuss that part. And lastly, you will end this report with conclusion. Then you will write the conclusion. So after the report body, let me add conclusion. If you do not write the conclusion, you will lose 1 mark. If 1 mark is for introduction, 1 mark is for conclusion. Conclusion is like ending remarks. What you have written in the analysis, assumption and ethical issue, you will briefly conclude that what is that decision. That should be in conclusion. Then you will write the report compiled by, do not write your name, then you will write the date, and there is no need to mention the date. Okay, so this is the format of the report. 1 mark for the introduction, 1 mark, 1 mark for the conclusion, and 1 mark and 2 marks are for the 1 mark for the well structured, and this 2 and 1, it also includes the 1 mark. 1 mark for the introduction, 1 mark for the conclusion, 1 mark for the well structured report body, and obviously the format also attract 1 mark. So that's how you will write a report in the exam. If you do not give the introduction of the report, you will not get 1 mark. If you do not give the conclusion of the report, you will not get the 1 mark. Report should be ended after the conclusion by writing these 2 lines: report compiled by, leave the space, date, leave the space. Okay. And when you write the report body, you should reference with the numerical. Give the reference the numerical. Reference the numerical working, like by writing appendix. Appendix 1, appendix 2, appendix 3. Remember, when we used to solve question manually on the paper, we used to give the working like working number 1, working number 2, or working number 3. Similarly, your numerical portion will be on the Excel sheet, spreadsheet. Your theoretical portion will be on the word sheet. And if you writing a report on the word sheet, you have to give the reference with the spreadsheet. And how you will give the reference? By referring to the appendix number 1, by referring to the appendix number 2, by referring to the appendix number 3. For example, your first working is cost of capital. So working number 1 will be written as appendix number 1. So you will write that cost of capital is 10%. In bracket, you will show appendix number 1. Then you will discuss the result of the NPV, and you have solved the NPV in appendix number 2. So properly label the theory with the reference from the numeric. So that's the best way to write the report. Number 1, to the board of directors. Number 2, write a 1-liner subject. Number 3, write a 2 to 3-liner introduction. Number 4, make a body of the report which includes smaller headings and discussion. Because in report, examiner generally asks 2 to 3 items. One is like assumption, second is like discussion on the result of APV, NPV type, or the comparison of different methods, and maybe the third item can be the discussion on the ethical issue. So make a body of the report with smaller headings. Give headings. And when you are discussing the numerical part in the report, try to relate that theory with the numerical by giving the reference of appendix number 1, 2, or 3. And then you will give the conclusion, and lastly, report compiled by and date. Please, it's a request. Whenever you are solving 50 marks question, try to answer that question on the word by making a proper format of the report. At least try to practice 3 to 4 questions on the report. These are easy marks. These are free marks. You can get these marks by solving few questions. Making a report is not a problem. Solve the numerical part is a problem. If you able to solve the numerical part, it is easy to discuss that numerical just by having a practice of few questions. Okay, what to do in exam to score best marks? Do not panic if you are unable to solve few adjustments. If you stuck somewhere during exam, take appropriate assumption and keep moving. Keep solving, keep moving. If you have perfection in some topics, you have to save time by quickly solving that topic instead of spending too much time with emotions. If you are perfect in one topic, try to solve that question quickly. Do not get emotional. Do not spend too much time on that part. Avoid repetition for the written parts. Remember, it is generally a mark for each relevant point. Do not use incomplete sentences when making a point. Marks are awarded for complete sentences. I will request everyone that you should take a screenshot of this slide. This is a very important slide for the final exam. When you are going for the exam on the exam day, you should revise. You should at least read this slide once. remember how examiner awarded the calculations. How examiner awarded marks for calculation on figure rule. What is on figure rule? For example, by the way, I have discussed it already. Please listen it again. For example, if you solved part A incorrectly, examiner will deduct marks in that part. But in part number 2, in part number 3, in part number 4, you will be awarded full marks even if you have used the part A calculation to solve part B, C and D. This is on figure rule. I have copied this from the examiner's presentation. On figure rule. So it's my request that keep this into your mind. If you are unable to solve one adjustment, examiner will deduct mark for that adjustment, but you will be awarded full marks for the remaining adjustments. Even if you are using that wrong answer for the discussion for the B part, you will be awarded full marks. If you have shown proper working, you will be able to get full marks. You will be able to get maximum marks. If you are using spreadsheet functionality, you will be, examiner will give you the maximum marks. What is spreadsheet functionality? Solve question on spreadsheet. Please do not use manual calculation. Do not use calculator and put calculator figure in the Excel, in the spreadsheet. Use the spreadsheet functions, use the spreadsheet formulas. If you want to add some, like 3 cells, do not use calculator. Use a some formula. If you want to multiply 2 cells, do not use calculator. Multiply those cells by putting is equal to sign one cell, select one cell into second cell. So if you are using spreadsheet functionality, if you are showing the workings in calculation, you will be able to get full marks, the maximum marks. Why students do not get maximum marks in calculation? Because many of the students are still using calculator to solve the question. If you are using calculator to calculate the discount factor and writing that discount factor in the Excel, that is wrong. Use the Excel, use the spreadsheet functionality and identify the discount factor and use that. If you are still using calculator to calculate IRR, if you are still using 2 rates, 2 NPV to calculate IRR, that is wrong. Simply use the IRR function in order to calculate the IRR. Simply use the MIRR function to use the MIRR. By the way, I have compiled all the available formulas in one video. I have compiled all available formulas in one video, and that is available on the YouTube. Channel name is Shoaib Yaqub. www.youtube.com/Shoaib Yaqub. So there is one video which includes all the available formulas on the ACCA platform. So remember, if you're using spreadsheet functionality, if you're showing the working, you will get the maximum marks. And obviously I have told you the on figure rule, that if you incorrectly apply, if you have done something wrong in the question, only 1 or 2 marks will be deducted. You will be able to score maximum marks in other parts even if you have used that wrong calculation. So how to get maximum marks in theory answers? Theory, you should be able to write technically correct theory, and that should be linked with the scenario. These are the words of the examiner, guys. These are not my words, these are the words of examiner. How to get maximum marks in theory? Theory should be technically correct, and majority of the students know what is technically correct. If I ask you to write the benefit of NPV or IRR, you will be able to write few benefits even if you do not revise it. But you should write technically correct theory, and that theory should be linked with the scenario. That theory should be linked with the scenario. If you are unable to link the theory with the scenario, seriously, you will not be able to score maximum. On ACCA practice platform, 3 papers are available on past exam library. 3 past papers are available. 3 past paper means 9 questions are available. 3 practice exams are available. 3 practice exam means 9 questions are available. And 2 specimen exams are available. 1 specimen exam belongs to September 2022. If you don't want to solve that, leave that. Otherwise, 1 specimen exam means 3 questions are available. So these are 21 questions. Guys, leave everything else. Even if the remaining days you able to solve these 21 questions with full devotion, with full working spreadsheet functionality, working with full theory, seriously, probability of success will be way greater than 50%. Probability of success will be way greater than 50%. So these are the contact details. My WhatsApp number is given. This is the link of my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/Shoaib Yaqub, SHOAIB, and there is a proper playlist is available. Playlist of AFM is available. Full playlist, and it includes many videos. It includes actually the maximum videos, so that is quite helpful for you people. And this is my Facebook page. If you want to contact through Facebook, there's a link, and it is slightly different, www.facebook.com/Shoaib Yaqub CFA. This is my email. If you want to email any question or something, this is the link of Instagram, and these are the 2 WhatsApp groups are available. If you are unable to join these WhatsApp group, we will again share the link. Don't worry about that. Okay, guys, now let's discuss the first topic, that is investment appraisal. Let's discuss the first topic, that is investment appraisal. So we are going to discuss investment appraisal. We are going to discuss the knowledge checklist, examples of requirements. These are the just requirements which have been tested in previous exams. I've just copy paste those requirements here just to discuss that what kind of questions are tested. And then guys, let me finish this, then I will try to answer your questions. If you have any question, please hold that question. Let me discuss this area, then I will take your questions. Okay. Thank you so much. So in investment appraisal, we are going to discuss the knowledge checklist, the examples of requirements, the common mistakes which students usually do, and how to score the maximum marks in investment appraisal. So in investment appraisal, you should know how to calculate NPV using existing WACC. Chances are very low that any question will be tested, but still this is the area. NPV using existing WACC. NPV using risk adjusted WACC. Risk adjusted WACC. Examiner has tested this question, the question on this topic many times. NPV using existing WACC has been tested once or twice. There are few questions in past papers are available. For example, Seal Island question is available. And some other questions are also available. NPV using risk adjusted WACC questions are available, and there are many questions which have been tested on NPV. Many questions. For example, latest attempt, even in the latest attempt which we are going to solve in few minutes. So APV question has been tested there. In investment appraisal, you should know how to calculate the NPV using existing WACC. You should be able to solve, you should know that how to solve the NPV using risk adjusted WACC. You should know how to solve the APV, and the smaller topics include project duration, MIRR, sensitivity analysis, and simulation. So these are the topics which examiner can test in normal investment appraisal, and in international investment appraisal, examiner can test international APV or international NPV or international APV. For example, there is a question named Tromont that has been tested on international APV. This is a question on Jilandev, which has been tested on international APV. There is a question Megam. This has been tested with the real option. So many questions have been tested from these areas. If you want to have a grip on the investment appraisal, you should have a grip on these areas. You should know how to calculate the NPV using existing WACC. You should know how to solve the question on NPV using risk adjusted WACC. You should know the APV working and how to solve the question using APV. By the way, it has been tested in the last exam. And you should know the international investment appraisal. Chances of international investment appraisal is bright, by the way. So international APV can be tested, international NPV can be tested. And smaller topics like in the B part, in the C part, project duration can be tested, MIRR can be tested, modified IRR, sensitivity analysis of like sales, variable cost, initial investment can be tested, simulation, the theory of simulation can be tested. So this is the knowledge checklist in which you should have a grip, even if you want to score maximum in investment appraisal. And seriously, these are not the difficult topics. You should have a grip on these areas. What are the common requirements? Examiner often test real option with NPV. Although we will cover real option later on in other topics, but real option is generally tested with investment appraisal in exam. NPV testing, APV testing, NPV testing, APV testing. I have copied these requirements from few attempts, but in every attempt, examiner will test the investment appraisal area in every attempt. So in every attempt, you can see the question on NPV, APV, WACC, duration, MIRR. So there will be a repetition after every attempt. Question will be tested on APV, NPV, APV, NPV. So you should have a grip on these topics. What are the common mistakes? These are the common mistakes. Please check whether you are doing it or not. Whenever losses have to be carried forward, majority students fail to set off losses against the future profits. This is a problem. And in today's question, we will going to discuss this problem. Examiner often write in the exam that you can carry forward the losses. So by simply, this is a very simple adjustment. Seriously, it's a very simple adjustment. By carry forward the losses to the next available profits, students often do the mistake. It's a very common mistake because I used to check the test and mocks of different candidates. So I have seen this problem many a times. Unable to calculate balancing allowance or balancing charge effectively. Obviously in the last year, this will be in the last year. Student usually unable to calculate balancing allowance or charge in the last year. Not all the students, but majority do this mistake. Incapability to calculate market value of debt appropriately. Many students calculate market value of debt using tax. I have told many a times that you will never use tax in calculation of market value, but still student use tax in calculation of market value. So many students unable to solve the market value debt appropriately, properly. This is a problem with the students. Students usually don't know the difference between coupon and the required return. So coupon is fixed. And you have to discount with risk-free rate plus spread or LIBOR plus spread. This is the discount rate and this is the annual cash flow. So many students unable to calculate market value of debt properly. Incompetency in calculation of cost of equity using Body-Giuliani and Miller formula. You know that there is a formula, cost of equity of geared company is equal to cost of equity of ungeared company plus cost of equity of ungeared company minus KD into debt over equity into 1 minus T. Many students unable to use this formula. You have to have a grip on this formula, and you should know how to solve this formula in the spreadsheet. I know these are very common adjustments, but I know that many students do this wrongly in solving the questions. In APV, when tax is payable 1 year in arrears, majority of the students calculate interest savings and tax losses on subsidized loan under the same roof. This is another problem. By the way, in today's question, we are going to tackle this problem. When tax is payable in 1 year in arrears, you cannot calculate interest saving and tax losses combinedly. You have to solve it separately. This is the problem which students do. These are the mistakes which students do in the exam. Inability to explain assumptions virtually. If examiner asks you to write the assumptions, you have to explain that these are the assumptions. Students usually unable to explain the assumptions. Students usually don't know what the assumptions they have taken. So these are the summary of common mistakes in investment appraisal. What is required to score maximum marks? Thorough understanding of topics knowledge. Elaborate all calculation in steps because each step carry 1 to 2 marks. Elaborate all calculation steps. Now it is easy. You can give the working in the cells. Even if you want to show the working separately, even if you want to show the working in the cell, both are allowable. If you are unable to recall any step, take assumption and move to the next step. You will still able to get maximum score. After calculation, always discuss the result of the calculation. Learn to make a report, its format, its structure. You will get 4 marks, free 4 marks. Learn calculation of WACC because it is important part of IA means investment appraisal. Many students think that investment appraisal is without WACC. No, WACC is integral part of investment appraisal. Whenever there is subsidized loan, it is almost certain that APB has been tested. Guys, if you are unable to recall that which topic has been tested from the requirement, if subsidized loan is given, if issuance cost is given, it is almost certain that APB has been tested. Write complete sentences in a report. Avoid making bullet points unless it is necessary. Unless you are left with very few minutes, then obviously you can write the bullet format, or even the examiner has asked you to list down the benefits, then you will write the bullet format, then you will use the bullet format, otherwise not, otherwise avoid it. Read theoretical answers of examiner to learn theoretical expression, how to write theoretical expression. If you able to copy at least 30 to 40% of the examiner's answer, you are on right track. You are good enough to pass the exam. Solving maximum past paper questions of practice, but do expect different scenarios in your exam, may be entirely different from the past paper. So solving past paper practice will give you solid strength, but obviously you have to fight with a new question in the exam. And obviously if you prepared well, you will be able to score, you will be able to tackle that question. Okay. So this was the checklist. Knowledge checklist, common requirements, summary of common mistakes, and what is required to score maximum marks. Okay, now let me answer a few questions which students have asked. Okay, there is a question, can we write date after subject? Or try to write the report, try to write the date at the end of the report, because it is the examiner's way of writing that date. So try to copy that way. Okay, the title of YouTube video on which all formulas have been discussed. Open the YouTube channel. There is a proper playlist available and you can search on that playlist. Meanwhile, I will share that video in the WhatsApp group. Okay. Okay, there is a question that if you miss one adjustment, it will affect your final answer. I think I have answered that question. Guys, is there any other question? which I haven't answered. Can we ask you doubts relating to the other questions as well? You can ask any question in the WhatsApp group. Obviously, don't worry about that. But in this webinar, as we have a limited time available, so ask the relevant question related to the topic. Okay, there is another question. Can you help with topic wise question suggestion? Yes, I will definitely give you a list of I can give you the list of questions which you can solve, but I have already answered your question that at least try to solve those 21 questions which are available on the ACCA practice platform. Are formulas given in CB exams? Formulas, the list of formulas will be available, but you have to apply that formula. I will request to reshare the WhatsApp link. Don't worry about that. It is recommended to solve easy part first. So if we attempted theory part first after reading question, then after that reading theory, we may forget for while solving the solution. And no, it is recommended to solve easy part, but majority of the theory is linked with the numerical. So I will say that firstly solve the numerical part, then solve the theoretical part. What should be written in front of the report compiled by? Do not write anything. Report compiled by and leave the space. And a few students are requesting for some topics. I will cover that. I will try to cover those topics. Don't worry about that. Excel formulas will not be given in the exam. Why Excel formulas will be given? What is the role of your profession if Excel formulas are given? And don't worry, all very easy. Excel formulas are very easy. I will apply and teach you the maximum formulas in these 4 days. Monte Carlo simulation, I will cover that. I will cover that. But the report can be written in Word and appendix in Excel. Yes, report should be written in the Word and appendix in the Excel. Why is time pressure such a thing in professional life? Quality always preferred. If we do first calculate and then in second page we write report, is it okay, or report should be written first? By the way, you will do the calculation in the spreadsheet, and you will write a report in the Word format. Both of the sheets are different, and you have to give the reference by linking your report by writing appendix 1, appendix 2 with the spreadsheet. But don't worry about the exam, nothing has changed. It's easy to pass exam now if you're able to apply formulas on the Excel. Don't worry about it. Let's take a break, guys. And after the break, we will be solving a past exam paper question on the ACCA practice platform. So it's my request, you should open ACCA practice platform on your laptop or on your computer, we will solve those questions. We will solve investment appraisal question on the ACCA practice platform. Let's have a break of 10 minutes. I will be back after 10 minutes. Hello. Clear? Okay, guys, please open this September-December 2021 past exam paper. I'm moving to the requirement. Yes, please open this past exam paper. So the requirements are discuss and justify the actions Z company should take to address the three financial strategy policy failures. It's a latest past paper 2021 September-December. Latest past paper September-December 2021. Discuss and justify the actions Z company should take to address the three financial strategy policy failures. Okay, we will cover that. Prepare a report for the board of directors of Z company, which estimates an appropriate discount rate to use to determine the net present value of the new project based on all equity finance. So estimate an appropriate discount rate to use to determine the NPV. So we have to calculate the discount rate in part first. Second part is estimate the NPV of the new project, assuming that it is all equity financed. So in first part, we have to calculate the discount rate, and in second part, we have to calculate the NPV of the new project. Okay, third part is estimate the adjusted present value of the new project. Adjusted present value. So discount rate, NPV, and APV. And last is evaluate whether the new project should be undertaken. Actually, this is all about the report. This is all about the report. Discuss the assumptions made in the estimates above. Discuss whether the APV method would be more appropriate than the conventional NPV method to evaluate the new project. So we have to discuss the result of the APV. Then we will discuss the assumptions. Then we will discuss that whether the APV is best or the NPV is best. Professional marks will be awarded in part B for the format, structure, and presentation of the report. And the last part is compare and contrast whether Z company should raise future funding through new debt finance or through asset securitization. So we have to discuss the difference between debt finance or asset securitization. So let's discuss the scenario one by one. Z Company is a large listed engineering company involved in the development and manufacture of environmentally friendly products for businesses worldwide. Until a few years ago, the value of its share had been increasing steadily, and it regularly outperformed its main rival. So previously, the company was performing well. However, more recently, its share have been underperforming, and many financial analysts are recommending that Z Company shares should be sold. Z Company investors are becoming increasingly concerned. Obviously, they are contacting you and you have to answer those questions. The analysis concluded that this underperformance was due to three policy failures in the company financial strategy as follows. So these are the main policy failures. Number one is Z Company does not undertake post-completion audit of its investment project. So we have to discuss the importance of the post-completion audit. The post-completion audit importance. This is the number one discussion of the A part. Second, Z Company has used a fixed discount rate of 10% to assess all investment projects for some years now. And none of the company's senior management can remember why this rate was chosen. That is quite strange, but still this is a question. Next is Z Company has continually funded new investment project using equity finance, and the analysis concluded that this financing strategy sent the wrong signal to the investors. So guys, for A part, there is no need to make a report. What you will do, you will open the word processor. You will write that you are making answer to the part 1, part A. And you should write your answer in 3 headings. You should write your answer in 3 headings. Post completion audit, this will be your first heading. Then you are using fixed discount rate for all the projects. And third is financing of new projects using equity. So these are 3 headings in which you are going to discuss the policy failures. So the use of post completion audit, remember, if you are using the post completion audit, that means you will be able to judge that the performance of the project manager, you will able to judge that what went wrong in completion of the projects. You will be able to judge the quality of the project, and you can check the variance which you have faced in the original budget and obviously in the final completion of the project. Obviously, there will be a cost involved in the post completion audit, but if the benefits of post completion audits are greater than the cost, then you must go with the post completion audit. So you have to discuss that what is post completion audit is all about. Post completion audit is a part of project monitoring. So whenever you are going to do the investment appraisal, remember, you have to do the post-completion audit. If you do the post-completion audit, you will able to judge the appraisal of the project manager. You will be able to judge the variation which you have found in the original budget. You will be able to judge the performance appraisal of all the parties, all the stakeholders involved in the performance. Second is fixed discount rate. Although we have covered in AFM that there is no fixed discount rate, but if you are using a fixed discount rate, you are neglecting a basic fundamental rule that for the risky projects, company should use the higher discount rate. For the less risky projects, company should use the lower discount rate. So if you are using a fixed discount rate and you are discounting a less risky project, maybe you do not accept that project because you are using a higher rate. And if you are discounting a higher risky project with a fixed discount rate, you are going to accept that project because you are discounting with a lower discount rate. So you will write that if company using a fixed discount rate, company is going to be in a trouble because company is accepting all the risky projects. Then the last is financing of a project with the equity. Remember, if a company is selecting the new projects based on the internal funds, there will be no signal to the market. But if you are financing the new project with the debt, it will give the positive signal to the market, because market will think that if the investors, if the company is managing, if company is able to take a loan, company has the position to pay back the loan. So it gives a positive signal. But if you raise funds from the equity, it will give the negative signal. Why is it so? Because the shareholder will think that this company has not found any other source of finance, so that's why they have come to us. So it will give the negative signal. So that's why if you are using funds, raising funds from the equity, so you are actually raising the expensive funds. The shareholders are not happy with your performance. Shareholders are not uh, shareholders are not thinking the positive about the company. So what company should you should use? Company preferably use the internal funds, followed by the debt funds, and if still funds are needed, then you should go to the shareholders. On the first place, you should move to the you should use the internal funds, then you should use the debt, and then you will move to the equity holders as a last resort, because equity holders will treat it as a negative signal, because equity holders always believe that company raises funds through equity when shares are overvalued. It's a normal practice in many of the countries. Let me tell you in detail. For example, if Tesla stocks move around like $100, if Tesla stocks move around $100, the management of the Tesla will not raise equity. But suddenly, because of the market practice, Tesla stocks move to $800. So what company will do? Company manager, if you are the manager of the company and if you are the rational manager, what you will do? You will say that our share has moved to $800. Our share is overvalued. So let's issue the equity in the market and give the market a response, give the market an impression that we are issuing equity at a discount. At $800 market, you will issue the share at $750. Everybody will be happy and you will be able to raise majority of the funds. Actually, what happened? You have issued overvalued shares in the market. So obviously shareholders are, over the period, shareholders have learned this thing, and now they have a common perception. Whenever company is going to raise funds through equity, definitely there is some problem. That means company is issuing overvalued shares. So what is the solution to this problem? Raise funds internally, raise funds through debt, and then move to the equity. Okay, now let's move to the that was a discussion on the part one. So let's move to the second para. Z company is considering a new project to manufacture environmentally friendly motor scooters. Environmentally friendly motor scooters which are fully carbon neutral. This is a diversification into a new business area for Z company in which it has no previous experience. So remember, you can't use the existing beta because you have moved to the new area. Z company CFO is of the opinion that Z company should determine an appropriate discount rate for the project based on an initial assumption that the project will be all equity finance. So assumption is project is all equity finance. This is your assumption, all equity finance project. So you will use the appropriate discount rate. Liu company would be a competitor to Z company as it manufactures environmentally friendly motor scooters as well as equipment for wind farm. So Liu company is doing two businesses. Liu company is doing two businesses. Approximately 60% of the Liu business is manufacturing motor scooters and the remaining 40% is manufacturing wind farm equipment. So 40% of the business is wind farm, 60% of the Liu business is manufacturing motor scooter. So Liu is your competitor, but Liu is not a suitable proxy, not the entirely suitable proxy company. Only the 60% of the Liu is relevant or the suitable proxy company. Given below is the most recent financial information relating to the Liu company. Share capital is 0.25, nominal value 20 million, reserves at 27.436 million, market value of equity is given, market value of debt is given, equity beta is given. S company is involved in the manufacture of equipment for wind farms. It has estimated its cost of equity as 15.4 and it is financed 20% by debt and 80% by equity in the market value. The risk-free rate is 4.8% and the market risk premium is 8%. The corporate tax rate is applicable to all the companies 20%. So this paragraph, this exhibit is related to the first requirement of B part. First requirement of the B part. Okay, let's read all the remainings, then we will solve the question. Next is Z company expect the new project manufacturing environmentally friendly motor scooters to last for 4 years. So 4 years is the life of the project, 4 years. The project will require an immediate expenditure of 70 million for plant and machinery. So you need an immediate expenditure of 70 million for plant and machinery. After the project ends in 4 years time, it is anticipated that project will be sold for 42 million inclusive of any inflationary increase. Any inflationary increase. The following estimates of revenue and cost related to directly to the project have been made. In the first year, sales revenue is 10 million, then increase to 40 million in year 2. In the final year, sales revenue will grow by 20% each. Costs are estimated at 120% of the sales revenue. So that means first year will be a loss-making year. 80% sales revenue for the second year, 40% of the sales revenue for the final 2 years. Substantial initial working capital of 10 million will be required at the start of year 1 of the project. Subsequently, working capital of 15% of sales revenue for that year will be required at the start of the year 2 to 4. Any remaining working capital will be released back. Okay. Company pays tax rate at 20%. Tax is payable with a year's time delay. So this is really important, with a year's time delay. Any tax losses from the project are set off against the company's profit from other projects. So there is no need to carry forward the losses. There is no need to carry forward the losses. Do not carry forward the losses. There will be enough profit available from other projects so that you can set off your profit against the losses. So you can set off your losses against the profit. Tax allowable depreciation is available on the expenditure on the plant and machinery for the project at annual rate of 15% on the reducing balance basis. It is anticipated that plant and machinery will have a realizable value of 20 million at the end of the project. So plant and machinery has a value of 20 million at the end of the project, which is included in the 42 million, Why it is given separately? So that you can be able to calculate the balancing allowance or charge of the last year. Next is financing the new project. Due to the positive environmental nature of the project, Z company can obtain the entire funding for the project through a loan at a subsidized interest rate of 180 basis point lower than the risk-free rate. So it will be able to how much? It will be able to how much? 3%, right? You will get a loan. At 180 basis point. 180 basis point means 1.8%. Basis is the basic unit of percentage. 180 basis mean 1.8%. 200 basis mean 2%. 1 basis mean 0.01%. So it is 3% actually. Z company normal borrowing rate is 6%. Z company has decided that project should be entirely funded through the subsidized loan. Issue costs which need to be paid are anticipated to be 3% of the gross finance. So you will firstly calculate the gross finance, then you will take the 3%. Issue costs are not allowable as a tax deductible expense. Given that the new project is to be funded by the subsidized loan, Z company CFO is of the opinion that APV, adjusted present value of the project, would be more appropriate than the conventional NPV based on the risk adjusted cost of capital to evaluate the project. However, he cannot explain why this should be the case. Okay, let's read the last one. Z company board of directors is considering whether to raise funds for forthcoming project either through new debt finance or through asset securitization. In addition to its manufacturing business, Z company receives rental income on some of its factory premises and its plant and machinery which it hires to other companies. The board is of the opinion that it should securitize this rental income. Okay, that is possible. Asset securitization is all about this, by converting the illiquid asset into liquid asset. We will discuss that. So let's solve the exhibit number 2. Exhibit number 2. So we are going to solve the appropriate discount rate to use to determine the NPV of the new project based on all equity finance. So actually we are going to calculate the ungeared cost of equity. So please open the spreadsheet, guys. So let's solve the part first of B part. and that is the discount rate. This should be the appendix number 1. Suitable discount rate. So now what to do? How to calculate the discount rate? That is the major question here. So we are going to identify the proxy company. This Liu company is our proxy company. But we are only dealing the motor scooters. But Liu company is dealing in 2 businesses. So there is no issue. If Liu company is dealing 2 businesses, what we will do, we will firstly calculate the asset beta of the Liu company, and then we will ungear the proxy company, the another proxy company, and make an equation. Like let me explain this. Guys, let me explain this. So you are in a business, you are searching beta for motor scooters. There is a company, this is dealing in motor scooters, but 60%. 40% in vents. So its beta is given, but obviously whenever beta is given, it will be beta equity. You know that. Whenever beta is given, it will always be beta equity. So what we are going to do, we will calculate the beta asset, and the Liu company beta asset will be a total beta asset because Liu is dealing in 2 businesses. So Liu company beta asset will be the beta of 2 businesses. So then we will calculate the beta asset of wind, which we will identify from the S company. And then we will put its weight here. And if we know the total beta, if we know the S company beta, and if we know the weights, we can calculate the MS beta, the motor scooter beta. So guys, if you have the total beta, by ungearing this 1.2, you will be having the total beta. So first of all, calculate the total beta, total asset beta. Calculating total asset beta. Beta equity is 1.2. Market value of equity is given. Market value of debt is given. Equity is 172 million, 48.26 million. $72 is given, 48.26 is given, 48.26, and tax rate is 20%. 20%. So let's calculate the beta asset. That is equal to beta equity into market value of equity divided by bracket start market value of equity plus market value of debt into 1 minus t, that is 0.8. So it will be equal to 0.78. It will be equal to 0.98. Guys, is it equal to 0.98? This is total B test. Hello. Okay, sorry, we were doing the calculation. So because of internet issues, I have to change the machine. Give me 1 minute. I just have to log in the platform. Okay, still it is not opening here. So let's solve on the Excel. I will use only the allowed formulas. Okay. Screen is visible, right? And you can listen me. Okay. So part 1, part B, and part 1. So it should be appendix 1, suitable discount rate. Okay. First step is to ungear the beta of Liu company. Ungear the beta of Liu company. First of all, write the beta equity. That was 1.2. Market value of equity in million, that was 172 million. Market value of debt, $48.26. So tax is 20% for all companies. So let's calculate the beta asset. Beta asset is beta equity into market value of equity divided by market value of equity plus market value of debt into 0.8, that is 0.98. So everyone is clear, right? 1.98. Okay, now let's make an equation that is total beta is equal to beta asset of scooter into 60% plus beta asset of winds into 40%. So make this equation. We have the total beta, but we need to calculate beta asset of winds. So beta asset of winds. There is another company, S company, which is involved in the manufacture of equipment for the wind farms. It has the cost of equity. Unfortunately, cost of equity is given. Beta is not given. So don't worry about that. If cost of equity is given and you know the formula of CAPM, you can calculate the beta equity. Cost of equity is given. Okay. Company cost of equity is given. That is 15.4%. Risk-free rate is given. That is 4.8%. Risk premium is given. Risk premium is given. That is 8%. So guys, you know the formula of CAPM, right? Cost of equity is equal to risk-free rate plus beta into risk premium. So we have the risk premium, we have the risk-free rate, and we have the cost of equity. So let's calculate the beta. Beta equity will be equal to cost of equity minus risk-free rate. We have to put the bracket around this. Cost of equity minus risk-free rate and divide with risk premium. It will be equal to point. Let me remove the percentage. 1.33. So it is approximately 1.33, and if we clearly show this, 1.325. 1.325 is the beta equity of S company. Now let's calculate the beta asset. Debt is 20, equity is 80. Market value of debt is 20%. Market value of equity is 0.8. Now let's calculate the beta asset. Beta equity into market value of equity divided by market value of equity plus market value of debt into 0.8. That is 1.104. 1.104. So now let's calculate this. Total beta is 0.98 is equal to beta asset scooter we have to calculate into 0.6 plus 1.1 into 0.4. So let's calculate that. It will be equal to, beta asset of scooter will be equal to, let's solve the equation, 0.98 this is 0.98 minus this into 0.4 divided by 0.6. So it will be equal to 0.89 approximately. Please confirm this. 0.897255. 0.897255. Please confirm this. Now calculate the cost of equity. The ungeared cost of equity. That is risk-free rate plus beta into risk premium. So it will be equal to 11.98%. Approximately 12%. We can say that it is 12%. Beta asset of scooter. So I have made the equation total beta asset. The Liu company beta is total beta asset. Why is it so? Because Liu company is dealing in two businesses. Liu company is dealing in two businesses. So 0.98 is the total beta asset. That is equal to beta asset of scooter into 0.6 plus the beta asset of winds into 0.4. So 0.4 and 0.6 is given. You will be calculating beta asset of winds from S company, and by putting the beta asset, remaining will be beta asset scooter. So what you will do, 0.98 minus this 1.4 into 0.4 and divide this with 0.6. That will be equal to 0.8972. 0.8972. Okay. So the discount rate is 12%. So let's solve the B part. Second part of the B part. Part B, second part. Or we can say that this is appendix 2. Okay, what is this all about? This is to calculate, the second requirement is to calculate NPV, base case NPV. So remember, there were 4 years. There were 4 years. So let's make a pro forma of 4 years. Four years, million. Years 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. First of all, calculate the revenue. Year 1 revenue is 10 million. It will increase to 40 million and then it will increase by 20%. Year 1 revenue is 10 million, 40 million. Then in next year, it will increase by 20%. Okay, next is cost. Cost is in first year it is 120%. In first year it will be 120% of the revenue. What about the second year? Second year 80%, then 40%. 80%, then 40%. So you can copy paste the second last one to the last. This is cost. Now you have to calculate the tax allowable depreciation. Show the working here. Let's calculate the tax allowable depreciation. Tax allowable depreciation. Tax depreciation. In first year, you will calculate the depreciation that is equal to how much? Depreciation is 15% on reducing balance basis. It is given in the end, at the end. 15% on the reducing balance basis. You can show the working on side or you can show the working at the last. Don't worry about that. Both options are available. So 15% depreciation is available and 70 million is the initial investment. 17 million. $70 million into 0.15. 10.10. So the shortcut is next year it will be 0.85. Next year it will be 0.85 of previous year. $7.58. And last year it will be the balancing allowance. That will be calculated in different ways. That will be calculated in different ways. One way is 70 million into 0.85 raised to power 3 minus the 20 million that is scrap value. That is equal to 23 million. 23 million. This is one way. Another way is 70 million minus the sum of these three. Sum of these three minus 20 million. 22.98. So there are different ways to solve this. Okay. There is another way, guys. Write written down value. Then write depreciation. By the way, what is the written down value? 70 million. 70 million, right? And what is the first year depreciation? 0.85. Sorry, 15%, 0.15. And what will be the second year WDV? 70 million minus 10.5. And what is the second year depreciation? This into 0.15. You can copy into the next cells. You can copy into the next cells. And last year depreciation will be the simple difference of WDV minus scrap value. So it's up to you which method you want to use, the first one or the second one. By the way, which one is easy? First one, right? So it's up to you. So let me copy this depreciation. It's I-33 here. I-33. Let's calculate the profit. You can also round off these figures. So profit is, so tax is 20%. On the loss, you will get the saving, because it was clearly written in the question that other taxable profits are available. Put negative sign whenever you want to calculate tax, put negative sign into 0.2. And sorry guys, we have to make another year. We have to make another year, because tax is payable 1 year in arrears. There will be no tax here, minus first year loss into 0.2%, and then copy into the next cells. Then copy into the next cells. Then add back the depreciation. Add back the depreciation which you have deducted above. Now add this back. Okay, now let's calculate the working capital change. Working capital change. So what is the working capital in year 0? It was given in the question. Working capital in year 0 is 10 million, and subsequently working capital of 15% of sales revenue for that year will be required at the start of the year 2. In CB spreadsheet, you have to cut paste. You cannot add a row. You have to cut paste. For example, if you want to add one cell, you have to cut paste like this. Control X, move one side, one cell here, Control V, cut paste. Okay, now let's calculate the working capital. First of all, write working capital requirement. Working capital requirement. Working capital requirement in year 0 was 10 million, and then it was the 15% of the sales. It was the 15% of the sales revenue. So let's calculate the 15% of the sales. Sale is %15 of the sale. Sale is 40 million for year 2, 6 million. This is the working capital requirement. Now working capital change. For first year, it is, you will calculate year 0 minus year 1. Sorry. First year it will be 10 million minus 10. Then you will calculate 10 year 0 minus year 1 into all cells. It will be a pair like this. First of all, write the working capital requirement. In year 0 it is 10 million. In year 2 it is 15% of that sales. Obviously in year 2 sale is 40 million. You will take the 15% of 40 million and you will write 1 year in advance. If you have taken 15% of year 2 sales, 1 year in advance mean year 1. So it will be 6 million. So guys, if you are uncomfortable, write sales here. This is revenue. So in first year, working capital is 10 million. That is okay. In second year, working capital is 15% of sales. And then so on, 15% of every year sales. The first working capital will always be written like negative, minus 10. Then you will take the difference of working capital and identify the incremental working capital. This is J36. J36. This is working capital. Now write the investment. Investment is minus 70 million. And now write the scrap value or disposal value. That is how much? 42 million. It was 42 million. Okay, now calculate the net cash flows. That is sum. Take the sum of all cash flows. Sum. Take the sum of all cash flows. Till profit. So these are the cash flows. Please calculate. If you have any doubt, do ask. These are the cash flows. So now let's calculate the NPV. There are many ways to calculate NPV. So let me write a simple traditional way, 12%. You will write 1.12 raised to power minus link with the cells. and calculate the PV, present value, discount rate into net cash flows, and take the sum of all these will be equal to NPV. That is SUM bracket start. Sum of all these will be NPV, that is 1.06 negative. Okay. I will repeat the working capital calculation. Please give me a minute. So 1.05 is the negative NPV at 12%. Cell 40, C40. 1.12 raised to power minus 1. Okay. Okay, there is another way. Another way. This is one way. There is another way. That is, use the formula of NPV. Yes, okay. It was written in the question that you can net off your losses with the profit. That's why I have written the tax saving. Yes, you are right. So guys, you can apply the NPV formula, but remember the rule. Whenever you are going to apply the NPV formula, you will write is equal to NPV bracket start. You have to write the discount rate 12%, comma, and you will select all years from year 1 onwards. NPV formula will always be applied from year 1 onwards. NPV formula will always be applied from year 1 onwards. Okay. Now, then you will have to adjust the outflow. So it will be equal to 1.06. It will be equal to 1.06. So instead of writing all this stuff, you can simply use the one formula. In simple one click, you can easily solve the answer. 1.06. And what is that? Let me again use it. Is equal to, write NPV, 3 words, is equal to 12% or 0.12, whatever you want to use, comma, select all cash flows from year 1 onwards, close the bracket, and then add the initial investment. Why add the initial investment? Because you have applied the negative sign. Obviously NPV formula is allowed in ACCA platform. That's why I am teaching 1.06. This is allowed. This is allowed. I will only tell those formulas. I will only teach those formulas which are allowed. Don't worry about it. Okay. So let me quickly solve the appendix number 3. Part 3. Yes, it is okay. It is okay. This is financing side. This is financing side. You will learn few points here. State and TIF. This is financing side. So the funds required is Normally funds are required is the year zero outflow. Year zero outflow. That is 80 million. That is 80 million. Funds required is 80 million. First of all, calculate the issuance cost. Issuance cost is 3%. And you will be calculating the issuance cost like this. Remember, examiner has a habit of calculating issuance cost like this. So always, you people should always calculate issuance cost in this way. And that is 80 million divided by 0.97, gross of the amount, multiply into 3%. Gross of the amount and multiply with 3%. Gross of the amount and multiply it with 3%. That is 80 million divided with 0.97 into 3%. Into 3%. Okay, that's how you will calculate the issuance cost. Okay, now let's move to the next. Guys, for issuance cost, always gross up the amount and take the 3%. Examiner always gross up the amount and take the percentage. Okay, now let's calculate the present value of tax sheet. Tax sheet, present value of tax sheet. And that is equal to tax saving. Loan amount is 80 million into how much interest you are paying. We are paying 3%, right? We are paying 3%. How I know? Because it is written in the second line that we will be getting loan at 1.8% cheaper than the risk-free rate. So we are getting loan at 3%. You can also write this 4.8% minus 1.8%. Okay. Into tax rate 0.2, 0.48. $80 million into 3% into 0.2. Okay, now you will calculate the annuity factor. Annuity factor should be at which rate? Guys, whenever you are solving APV, you have two choices of discount rate. Whether you can discount at risk-free rate or you can discount at KD. It's totally acceptable whether you use a risk-free rate or KD, but it should be before tax. Okay, so which one we are going to use? Risk-free rate. So it is a delayed annuity factor. So formula will be 1 minus 1.048, 1 minus 1.048 raised to power minus 4 divided by 0.048. This is the annuity factor of 4 years. Multiply it with discount factor of 1.048 minus 1, 3.399. So this is the answer. So I have used the delayed NVT factor. Guys, you can use the NVT table as well. You can also use the NVT table for it. This is present value of tax shield. Next is present value of interest savings. Present value of interest savings. 80 million is the loan amount, and every year you will save 3%. Every year you will save 3%. So every year you will save 2.4. So let me copy the NVT, but remember, for interest saving you will use the normal NVT. For interest saving you will use the normal NVT, that is 3.56. And the last one is present value of tax loss on interest saving. That is equal to interest savings into 0.2. And for this you will have to apply the delayed NVT factor, because whenever the tax is there, there will be the delayed NVT factor. Okay. So these are the relevant answers. So total financing side is equal to this is loss, this is benefit, and this is also a cost. So 6.08 is the total financing side. 6.08. Obviously our standard answer will be different from the standard answer, because in standard answer examiner has used the 6%. NVT or discount factor working has to show no, there is no need to show the working of NVT factor. I don't want to use the calculator, that's why I have directly solved here. Otherwise you can directly use the calculator or the available formula list. There will be no negative impression, because there's a proper formula is available, list of NVT is available in the exam. So guys, total APV will be equal to financing side plus the investment side, that is 1.06. 5.02 is the answer. So that's how you will solve this. There is a question that can we have a list of allowed formulas? Yes, Zamad, we have a proper list of formulas. Please add into my WhatsApp group. I will share the video there. Don't worry about that. If we use a cut paste, no, linkage will be there. That linkage will be there. Can we have an Excel file? I will send this Excel file. Don't worry. I will share the Excel file. Can you repeat the percentage thing? Which percentage thing? Please share. Please tell me. Which percentage thing? Okay, guys. We are running out of time, so it's a request. I have solved almost all of the question. I have solved A part, I have solved complete B part. So it's a home assignment. Try to make a report on this. Try to make a report on this. How many marks you will get, Zed? You will get full marks on A first, second, and third part of B part. Please explain the delayed annuity factor calculation. Okay, why I have used the delayed annuity factor? There is a reason. You will save interest every year. You will save interest every year, but tax is after 1 year. Tax is 1 year in arrears. You are paying interest in year 1, but you will save interest in year 2. Save tax in year 2. So you are paying, like, let me explain here. These are year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. So you are paying interest here every year. But you're not saving tax in the same year. You are saving tax here from year 2 to year 5. So if you are saving tax in year 2 to year 5, that means this is delayed annuity factor. So these are 4 years. Apply 4-year annuity factor and multiply it with year 1 discount factor. Or select 5-year annuity minus 1 year in annuity. Okay. No point of tension here. 4.8% is the discount rate, right? I have assumed risk-free rate is a relevant discount rate. Guys, you can use the 6% discount rate if you want to. Both are allowed. You can use the KD, you can use the risk-free rate. So 4.8% is given. So I have used this formula. Bracket start. 1 minus 1.048 raised to power minus 4. 4 years are given, by the way. Divided by 0.048. This is normal NVT. This is normal NVT. Let's suppose if I need 1 year delayed NVT. So what I will do, I will multiply this with 1.048 raised to power minus 1. I will multiply it with 1 year discount factor. Okay. Tax shield is the tax saving. Tax shield meaning tax saving. Tax shield is tax saving. So how much loan you have taken? 80 million. How much interest you are paying? 3%. You have taken 80 million. You are paying 3% interest rate and you are saving 20% of it. Simple, that is tax saving. And if you calculate the present value of tax saving, that is called tax shield. Perfect. Okay, if you have any other question, do text me in the WhatsApp group. Okay, and it's a request. Please try to complete the report on this calculation. On the basis of this calculation, it is like an home assignment. Try to make a report on this part. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, and do join the WhatsApp group. See you there. Hafsa, I will discuss that part in the in tomorrow class. Tomorrow we will discuss the merger and acquisition. After discussion of this question, we will discuss the merger and acquisition. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.